Okay, Kunal Rajdeep's question. Freeze somebody out. So I'm assuming Kunal Raj is asking what is the meaning of this phrase? Freeze somebody out. Is that the question? Is Kunal here? So when you say when I say I'm freezing you out, which means you are excluding that person, right? Sometimes when you get into let's say you're new, okay, in the college, and already colleges have their own groups, they form groups and teams, right? So if they freeze you out, they exclude you from their discussion. Not to make someone panic, Gayatri. When you say I'm freezing you out, mean excluding them, not making them a part of something. So you are either unfriendly towards that person, right? And you're not including them in any activity or whatever group that you are in, right? So it's almost like an expression. I can say, I felt I was being frozen out. From the discussion, right? Or frozen out from the group. Follow? Yeah, Summer is right. You're behaving in an unfriendly, hostile manner. Behaving unfriendly towards whoever it is, right? Not including them in either, it could be whatever activity that you're part of or whatever group that you're part of, right? You're excluding that person, freezing them out. That's what it means. So I threw up my cards for want of funds. Threw up my cards is the idiom here. Options are, does that mean he gave up his plan, or does it mean he gambled all his money? Does it mean he put the whole income at stake, or does he mean he looked out for help? I threw up my cards. I'll give you another expression, okay? Another variation to throw up my cards is threw up his hands. That's another idiomatic phrase. So I have all the options for this. I have B, C, A, D. He threw up my cards for want of funds. So when you say threw up something, right? What it means is basically you give up, or you're confessing defeat, right? When I say I threw up my hands, so let's look at it's the same meaning. Both the phrases have the same meaning, okay? So if I say he threw up his hands and abandoned the argument, right? So in this context, he threw up his hands and abandoned the argument, right? So basically what he did is he gave up. He accepted defeat. So here in the context, I threw up my cards for want of funds. Gambled on my money, option B, doesn't seem logical at all. If you need funds, why would you gamble all the money? That doesn't make sense. Put my whole income at stake. Sounds logical. Looked out for help. Again, sounds logical. But the right expression, the meaning that the expression gives is gave up my plan. You give up something. I threw up my cards for want of funds. You give up something to do something else. We're talking exclusively of what the expression means, and I just gave you another example context with a variation to that expression. He threw up his hands. The second one, Shyam Prasad was a chip of the old block. If you've heard people say this to you, which means they're making reference or context to the old block here, referring to your parents, either one of your parents. Maybe you behave and act, the characteristics that you depict or display is either of your father or your mother, right? So if I say Harish gets angry, right, at the drop of a hat, he is a chip of the old block. I used another idiom there, drop of a hat, means for anything and everything, right? Chip of the old block meaning just like his father. right? So obviously the answer option is option A. Someone similar in character to one's father, not a common boy, not an experienced old man, and not a being of the old generation. Definitely not. Okay. Russell Peters really brought the house down with his spectacular performance at the club yesterday. So the highlighted phrase is brought the house down. In fact, there was a very old variation to this. People no longer use it though. It's called brought the roof down. So it's very archaic. Nobody uses this expression anymore. The expression that is more popular and commonly used is brought the house down, which means what? Yeah, Russell Peters is hilarious. I like him too. But minus the foul language. Anyway, pulled down a building, amused the audience greatly, defamed a family, passed a bill unanimously. Obviously, we're talking about Russell Peters. So it has to do with entertaining the audience, and it has to be option B. Just a very logical fit. But bringing the house down means basically you are making sure that the audience is having a gala time, right? They are enjoying themselves. There's a lot of enthusiasm, all of that. They are cheering, right? Sunil's dog in a manger attitude did not help to settle the matter. So obviously this is a negative attitude, right? It can't be warm. It either has to be selfish, cold, or selfless. Selfless again, positive word. I don't need that. Selfless means not thinking about you, right? You're very selfless. Opposite of selfish. So we have to choose between selfish and cold. Sunil's dog in a manger attitude did not help to settle the matter. So dog in a manger, again, that this phrase actually, it's taken from a very old story. In fact, I would say a fable, right? So basically in that fable, if you see, the dog kind of is lying in a manger which is filled with hay. Okay, so there's an ox trying to eat that hay, but the dog is biting the ox, right? And shooing the ox away. Basically, the dog is making the ox's life difficult by not letting the ox eat the hay. So what is it doing here? It's not like the dog is going to eat the hay, right? So despite the fact that the hay is of no use to the dog is still not allowing the ox to eat the hay. That's where this expression came from, dog in a manger. So which means the dog is being selfish, right? Selfish despite the fact that it is not even useful for it. The hay is not useful. So that's why the expression, if you understand the expression, you will choose the right option, which is selfish. So Sunil's selfish attitude did not help to settle the matter, right? The problem with idioms and phrases, again, just like the first one also, most of you were confused, right? Though there are logical fits to the context, we still need to understand the expression, the origin of it, and where it comes from. So if you understand the expression dog in a manger, you know it's referring to someone being selfish.